Instagram too, because Haps still is not letting us stream directly from it. So we're waiting for that to happen, and I know it's gonna happen. So let me go live on Instagram here so we can start talking to our people over there too. Meanwhile, take a look at the view here in Hawaii. Have you guys been to Hawaii? Come visit.
Yeah, beautiful. You have the best view. I love it when you post your rainbow pictures and
I know we see rainbows almost every day. So
yeah.
we are live on Instagram. I'm waiting for Christina to hop on Instagram. We're double streaming, so if I'm looking at the camera up and down, it's because we have two cameras going
Yeah.
until Haps allows us to be able to stream directly. So just give a little second here for hello, 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 hello. Hello. So today is in English. Next week we'll
I'm
be
trying to
speaking in
join.
Portuguese.
Let me see here. It's saying I joined.
All right, Christine, I see you here. Got you.
There we go. Whoops. There we go.
Yay.
Can you hear me?
Absolutely, yes.
Awesome.
So, and here's the thing, when you're double streaming, if you're streaming on Haps and on Instagram, you have to have your computer on mute so we don't hear double. So we got this down this time because we always had a little trouble first getting it.
Yeah, you know
Super
what I
exciting.
realized? The one that we did the whole group, I was like muted. I don't know. I was couldn't hear my audio the whole time. So I'm so glad that we have this chance again to talk about Copaiba. And now we get to talk about Breathe too.
I know Copaiba is probably one of Christina's favorite,
It's super
right?
helpful. Yeah.
And let's teach people how to say Copaiba. It's Copaiba. It's not Copaiba or Corpeiba or Copaiba. That's how we say it in Brazil. It is one of my most favorite because, well, it's from Brazil and it represents a whole lot more than just a tree and an essential oil. It represents culture and generational wisdom that's passed down from generation to generation. For us to be able to get oil from a Copaiba tree, it takes anywhere from 20, 30, 50 years. And one of the gentlemen that was guiding us in the Amazon, the last time I was honored to be there, we were doing some humanitarian work there through doTERRA, and we got to see the copaibeiras, which are the copaiba trees. And he was saying, you know, some of these trees we never touch for about 100 years until we know that they are good for us to be able to use the resources of the tree. So it's really beautiful the work that they do. And I love listening to Christina speak on these plants because she's a biologist and she's a wealth of knowledge and she works with so much heart and love. And she pours so much into this and she's been doing it way before doTERRA was part of her life, right? How long have you been with doTERRA, Christina?
I just hit 5 years this month. Yeah.
Yes.
So super
So
exciting.
wonderful. So take it away. What do we have for today?
Cool. Yeah, so today, as you all hopefully have realized by now, it's BOGO week. And not only do we have the BOGO box still available, which I highly recommend because it's such an amazing deal for everything that's involved. Um, this week or today, if you'd like to just get the oils of the day, it's Copaiba and Breathe. So as Pam was mentioning, Copaiba is a tree from Brazil, and it's one that is very meaningful to the culture because it's so helpful in such a medicinal and healing aspect emotionally as well. Now, real quick, I do want to talk about the science just because that's what makes it so helpful. Um, and a lot of folks have been hearing lately about um, endocannabinoids and things like that. Well, actually, Copaiba is a very good one to use. And the reason why, especially doTERRA Copaiba essential oil, is because um, uh, when it's giving the benefits, you're giving yourself the uh, correct dosage every drop. So it's always going to be consistent dosage, whereas you would go and get other endocannabinoids, and it's not necessarily going to be the same percentage and doses with each order, I guess you would say, you know? So there's 2 systems in your human body that are endocannabinoid receptors. And again, endocannabinoids are in everything. It's in black pepper even, right? So, these are very helpful things to our system, and the ones that we're speaking of, the copaiba and black pepper, they actually attach to, the second receptor in our body, and that receptor system goes all throughout and helps things like immunity, brain function, um, just like basically every yeah, so brain neurological. Um, Help me out here, Pam. I'm missing up all of the
All
all the body
literally
systems,
all the
literally.
body systems like
Yeah.
cardiovascular, immune, digestive, nervous, respiratory. It's pretty concise as far as if you have any systems to cover, Copaiba's got you.
Yes, and the
That's it.
reason why it helps all these systems is because of the receptors that are located all throughout your body, right? So it's literally receptors in your skin, even. And that's why Copa is an amazing oil for skincare. So great to put in your uh, lotion regimen, or you could even use a very light, like jojoba, or even a fractionated coconut oil because that absorbs well into skin. So whatever oil, carrier oil we call it, works for your skin, then I highly recommend adding copaiba to your regime. By the way, if you would like to learn more about that, we have the Essential Glow Challenge, which we'll talk about later. Um, Copaiba is great to put a drop in your mouth in the beginning of the day to really just get that system going and get that health care to your overall system. I actually have some in my water right now because why not? I put a drop of lemon or any other citrus really, and copaiba because it's beneficial and it helps.
Yeah, and it's really mild in flavor and really mild in scent, right? The aroma of Copaiba is really mild.
Hmm.
And it's so cool to see we're doing a kids class with the kids. Our children are talking about their favorite oil next month in the Brazil community. And we put their names, like the mothers were filling out the names. And I said, hey, put the oil that they love, they like the best. And
Yes.
most of them chose Copaiba. So most
Oh,
of the kids are going to talk about Copaiba. So
that's
they have a
amazing.
connection because it's very mild, but they feel the difference. So for Addie, she loves Copaiba. She has one in her backpack. She has a few oils in her backpack, but Copaiba is one of them. And she likes the flavor of it. So when you say Copaiba, she goes, she loves to eat it. That's her thing. And it's because of the feeling she gets when she eats it. So
Right.
I asked her, so what do you feel when you eat copaiba? And she goes, it makes me feel very calm. It makes me
Right.
feel like I'm in control. That was powerful when she said that. It makes me feel like
Exactly.
I'm in control. So, but there is no psychoactive
Exact
cannabinoid. So sorry for some of you.
Right, that's what I was just gonna mention is it's completely safe in that respect. It's not a drug that will show up on drug tests, so perfectly healthy for everybody, and as you mentioned, including kids. And it doesn't have the psychoactive effect because that's the other system that things can attach to, right? And that's so mostly in the brain. And that's why those items, like, cannabis and things like that give the psychoactive effect because it's in the first system. We're talking about the second system that's more throughout the whole body. However, it is a little bit in the neurological system as well, not giving that effect. And I also have to share, actually, super cute. We have daughters that are the same age. For those of you that may not know, our kids are about 7, and And that's where we reconnected in terms of essential oils and in terms of our friendship. But Lily recently, her lip frenulum, she actually has a tight lip frenulum, which probably should have been taken care of a lot earlier. But we're looking into it now and working with holistic doctors. But the other day at the playground, she actually fell and broke it. And so lot of bleeding, a lot of discomfort. And so when I got her home, I said, let's start using the Copaiba. You can put it on there and it'll be okay. And so now she loves Copaiba. She loves putting it in, in her mouth. And I actually did a load of her laundry and I was taking it out and I felt something. I said, what's this? It was the bottle of Copaiba in her pants pocket. She's keeping it with her on her, on her person to use, which I love it. I love that.
Oh, that's so sweet. So, frenulum is the lip tie, right? That we talk about, like little babies, infants when they are born. Sometimes they have a lip tie that they can't latch correctly. That's how I got to know about the that lip tie. But there is one on the lower lip too, right? And
There
under the tongue.
yeah. Yeah, so there's one under your tongue, it's how your tongue attaches to your mouth. There's
Hmm.
one under everybody's lip. However, for some people, these, attachments are much tighter. There's, not as much openness in terms of the skin attachment.
Because
It's
that's what gives the stability, right, of the upper
yes.
and the lower lip. So
Yes.
that's why the speech is affected.
Yes, and the latch. Yes, exactly. Which we
Hmm.
did have struggles, but not like intensely, and when we didn't connect it, and lactation consultant didn't catch it either. So, things like that happen. It's okay. But
It's totally fine.
yeah,
Yeah.
we succeeded in our journey. She's a
You
healthy
know,
girl still.
humans are very resilient, right? I was talking to a doctor yesterday. We had an amazing meeting, and she was explaining to me, the resiliency of the body and how we can do something bad to the body for so long and not see any effects until like 10, 20, 30 years, 50 even, right?
Right.
Later. So remember, the body's really resilient, and it can be so resilient to bad things too, that
Yes.
we're not realizing that we're doing that. So that made me remember our conversation yesterday. And we talked about Copaiba because she is Brazilian too. So she's from Brazil. She uses Copaiba with her children. Her children, like my children, your children, they've never taken anything synthetic. So I've always been able to take care of them with the tools that we use in our daily lives. And so Copaiba is definitely one of them. So one of the main component of Copaiba is caryophyllene, and that is neuroprotective and also very connected to the cardiovascular and immune benefits of the Copaiba oil. And going to the emotional side, which I love, right? So again, that book
Yes.
that I show every single live that I
I
have here, I show it.
I have it as well. I love
That
this book.
Yes, that book is amazing.
It
So
really is.
the benefits, emotionally speaking, of Copaiba. Do you want to speak a little bit on it, Christina?
Go for it, go for it. I
Yeah.
love it when you speak on the emotional side of oils.
I work from the emotional side first, and I know that my physical will respond. And Copaiba is the oil
So
of
connected.
taking the veils off. So if and we've seen this a lot in Brazil. What happened was a lot of the usually women, because we are women, so naturally, we have, and women are very good. Men are good at that too, but creating community and starting up a talk out of nowhere, right? Out of thin air. So what happened in our Brazil community, these women started feeling like they started using Copaiba to ease anxious feelings. That is a thing right in the world today, has always been, and it got worse. So
Yes.
they started taking Copaiba 2 drops under their tongue. That was the protocol. Super easy, super basic, right? 2 drops under the tongue. If you don't want to drink it, put 2 drops in your hands and inhale it. That's it. Or on the bottoms of your feet. That's the protocol. Super basic. And what started happening is a lot of them started coming up to me, and one of my leaders in Brazil is Susana Justus. She came up to me and said, it's the Copaiba. A lot of them are coming up to us talking about how it's connecting them to their past, things that had happened in the past that's why Copaiba is, we say that it's the oil of unveiling, because it offers a time for us to be able to go back, not stay in the past, but understand the experience and be able to reframe it. Reframing the experience is such a big tool. And essential oils, Copaiba, all of the essential oils will be amazing tools to make the process easier. Because sometimes, or most times for me at least, going back into my past was always very painful, and openly I've talked about this, about my dad's murder, and my me being abused sexually as a child. um, all of the traumatic experiences in my life, it has been really hard to look at, and I've counted on the tools that I have, such as breathing, the essential oils, big tools for me every single day, and yoga, meditation, and just all this lifestyle that's all part of it, right? And talking, a lot of talking, a lot of, and different therapies that I'm in love with. So it is hard to be vulnerable to in this self-awareness when you are able to look at that unresolved thing. I don't call it problem, it's just a thing that happened, and then you're able to get in this place of love to yourself and forgive yourself, because no one can forgive other people. You're not that, you're not that godly. We can only forgive ourselves. And so that was, for me, was I was able to see everything through a different filter, instead of feeling I'm not worthy because that happened to me. I started looking at myself differently. I'm not my past. I understand what happened. I forgive myself, and I'm going to move forward because I was able to reframe everything that happened. And another friend was with me yesterday, Lucy Lynch. So some of our Hawaii community knows her. She is a singer, a musician. She's incredible. She's a healer. And she was talking to me about this process that she uses essential oils to do. They even have it at UH Manoa. So if people are interested, UH Manoa has this course about, it's basically reframing. I'll ask her the name of the course, but it's basically reframing things that had happened in the past. And they do an act of how it's really sad, and then an act how it's comedy. So you rewrite the story in a different way.
I love it.
And I absolutely love the way. So this is something that we all can do. Write down the story and then try to act it as a comedy, and try to act it as really sad, and you leave it behind, and then you start looking at it in a different light, right? So
Yeah.
Copaiba can help with that. So Copaiba is going to help with us have divine clarity and redefinition of the things that you want to be able to work on and move forward. And the feelings that Copaiba can help you with is self-awareness, worthy. Oh my gosh. I am enough was my mantra for last year and this year, that I never felt I was enough, because I've always felt that I was broken, and you're not broken. You're not, you're whole. And that was the thing that I worked on the most. And my purpose of why I'm doing this, why I get up every day, this very much connected to this essential oil. And then the stability of the trees, right? These trees are so strong and certain and of themselves because they're so rooted into their being, right? Trees are incredible. And the hug a tree thing is real. So I do hug trees. I am a tree hugger because
Absolutely.
they just give you so much energy, right? This exchange is so powerful. So it might feel a little weird, or even let your freak flag fly type of thing. Copaiba can help you with that. And if you feel shame or guilt, or if you feel regret, That's the oil that I would say do some work with it. So when you're doing shadow work, and I've been talking about this the whole week, shadow work is the thing, and it's not comfortable. But this is a tool for you to go through it, be able to reframe it, and boom, move on. Love it.
Yes, that's perfect.
Yes. So let's go to our next one, which
Winter
is
wintergreen. I think I said breathe before accidentally.
it's wintergreen.
It's wintergreen. I grabbed yesterday's free oil. Wintergreen is an amazing one too. And really powerful. And what's the theme of the week? Stronger together. doTERRA Stronger Together. These ones are really powerful for massage and muscle relief. Um, so that's a great one to combine together after a really long day at the office or working out in the yard. Um, whatever makes you sore. All the active people out there, especially those that are probably going to get ready for the New Year's resolutions and getting those going. But it's a great one. Has a special safety lid. The reason for that is because we want to make sure that the kids don't get a hang of it, and also that we know that it's not for internal use. It's only for aromatic and topical. Very important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Every time we talk about wintergreen, and I think this is a topic that is important, especially if you do the work that we do. If you're part of doTERRA, we're forever learning and never ends, and I love that. So I taught a class to my Brazil team on adulteration. And the reason why this is super important is because, example, wintergreen and birch are the only plants that have this component called methyl salicylate. Okay, so wintergreen is a perfect example of a plant that's easily adulterated. So it's hard to produce, and it's not uncommon. The real wintergreen, uncommon to pay a couple $100s for 1 kilo of real wintergreen. Okay, and by the way, our wintergreen comes from Nepal, and the humanitarian work that's connected to that is incredible. Like if you just do a search wintergreen Nepal doTERRA, you will see the video and you will cry. It's beautiful the work they do with the women there, especially. Okay, so knowing that wintergreen is mainly, right, almost entirely the MS que a gente fala, that we say methyl salicylate, some producers, they purchase the synthetic one, the methyl salicylate, for less than $10 a kilo. So you see the difference, $200, right? Or $10. And then what they do is they mix a little bit of the genuine wintergreen with the fake one, and they sell it as pure wintergreen. So the smell is the same, but the thing about the smell, when you smell two bottles, they probably would be, you can't tell, especially if you're not a pro, right? And I'm not a pro. I can easily be duped by, fake stuff. So when, and then by the way, too, it would pass tests. This is the crazy thing. If they test in the basic standards of testing, it will pass, but you can tell through, they call it carbon dating, that it's not real wintergreen, because these products are usually the fake one. It has been produced with petroleum byproducts, and the carbon dating will show that it is like 7 million years old. Obviously, we don't have wintergreen that is 7 million years old. And the testing will also, when doTERRA does the testing, it will show not only what's in it, but it will show what's missing. So the natural monoterpenes that wintergreen has, and other markers that confirm that it's either a petroleum byproduct or a real one. And that's what doTERRA does. And that's why it's important to have a company that for sure does the testing like doTERRA does. So if you have pure wintergreen oil at home, I invite you to
Mhm.
make sure that it's doTERRA, and um, and make sure that it is tested in the highest standards, because you're using this on your body, right? So you can use wintergreen topically. That's the main way that we recommend it for it to be used. And you can do it in the diffuser. And one of the uses for me, and this is something that's really powerful in my journey, was the fact that I never knew how to surrender. I never knew how to trust. I always had to be in control, right? Control freak. Um, Always had to survive. So the surrender part of wintergreen is the emotional benefit of wintergreen. So this will be for if you're very strong-willed, which I know I am. So if I want something, I'm gonna go after it, and you know it's gonna get done, which can serve me in very amazing ways, and it can also be very hard at times, right? Because I cannot ever um, let it flow, if that makes sense. So wintergreen will help you surrender to a higher power, and for me, that taught me how to trust and how understand that there is strength, and also not trying to always push so hard, trying to understand that yes, you need action, but you also can do life in a flow, right? And that was really hard for me to be able to invite that feeling, because I've always been in a constant like feeling that there was like a burden, for me to carry all the time. So I went to interview. So I went in the book and I looked specifically for surrender, and that's what I found, and that wintergreen is it. So being able to trust a power that's higher than yourself, if you have a hard time with that. And perfect example here in my home. Luke he's a spiritual being, but he's not super connected to energy work, and there's nothing wrong with that, obviously, right? But wintergreen has been a tool that we have been using for us to connect in that sense. And let me tell you, we just had this amazing experience um, through the past 2 months that was nothing short of a miracle, because we were not ready. We live in this place, and the owner, we were renting it, and the owner decided to sell it, and we were not ready for it. We were not. There were other priorities in front of it. So in the past 2 months, we came back to the US, right, and to do the move out of this place. And then Luke and I looked at each other and said, do you trust that this is going to work? Do you trust that we can make this happen? And yes, we just closed escrow yesterday. So
I
believe in
have
surrendering.
goosebumps,
Yeah,
Pam.
it's been,
Congratulations.
thank you. So believe in surrendering, believe in the greater power. And it's been really letting the foot off the pedal, literally, you know. So we've learned through this process the past 2 months to let go of control, let go of the need to be right. You know, I caught myself in a situation a couple months ago to say sorry for something I didn't do because I just didn't want to get into an argument. And that was so different. Like 3 years ago, I would totally go up like, oh, I'll take it. I'll argue with you, and I would never do that. So that takes self-reliance. And I I know that wintergreen has been, my house smells like wintergreen for the past 2 months because we've learned to surrender, um, to detach. We're detached from the outcome too. So we're like, if it works, great. If it doesn't, great, right?
Right.
So, and that's been um, a great experience. So wintergreen is incredible.
Yeah,
So
I love that.
anything burden and heavy, that's wintergreen on the physical and on the emotional side, right?
Amazing. What an amazing story. We'll have to start working with some wintergreen here in my home. I
Yeah,
have,
and
yeah.
the chewing gum has that, some chewing gum have wintergreen. So people have asked me, so I see that in like flavorings, right? But if it's using small quantities, like plant, yes, okay, you can use it. Chinese food, some of the Chinese dishes ask for wintergreen. Plant. The oil is 50 to 70% more powerful. That's why you shouldn't take it internally.
Right. I also you mentioned wintergreen and birch specifically, and I kind of wanted to speak on that for a moment. For those of us that have animals, wintergreen and birch are actually specifically not to be used with them, and because of the chemical components that Pam just spoke of. So, essential oils are safe to be used on pets, and I kind of started talking about that on my Instagram, and I'd be happy to, go into it more. But I was gonna go into the oils and how they are safe for pets, and because of the quality control of doTERRA essential oil, and that specific oil being safe to be used on pets. But also there are specific oils that we need to avoid or just be really cautious using around the animals. And whenever we are diffusing oils around our pets, we want to make sure that doors are open so they're not stuck in any room, so that if they do feel like they just want to leave and go to a different spot, then they're okay to do that. But a lot of times I'm seeing people tagging me, especially tagging me on things about essential oils and pets and how they're not safe. And really what the issue is in most cases is the fact that they're not pure, and that they are using synthetic chemicals in the oils. And the reason being is that the essential oil industry is not really regulated in that sense. And so, as long as you have just a little tiny percentage of pure essential oil, it's considered the whole bottle is considered pure. And that's why doTERRA prides themselves on their quality standards, and their certified pure tested grade essential oils. And so you can look on the bottom of every single bottle and find a serial number, and go to a website and look it up and get the information about the chemical processes that it went through to pass all of the tests.
Yeah, so we can do a whole class on just adulteration. And that
Yes.
is one of the most concerning types, which is the addition of synthetic chemicals that are harmful. Okay, they don't give you benefits, and they can easily be synthesized in a lab. So
Yes.
that is the most dangerous ones, for sure.
Yes.
So
And a lot
that's
of those
cool.
synthesized chemicals are not, I mean, they're technically the same chemicals in terms of when you write out the molecular, chemical. But when you actually,
Because Christina, because they're naturally occurring, right?
right,
That's
you
what.
but in the lab you can create things or extract it from other items, but to get the one chemical, and that's basically what they do in pharmaceuticals, to make medicines, right? And but they can also do it in anything. You can add certain chemical constituents to anything. So but a lot of times because they're not the ones that are derived from plants in nature, it's actually opposite in terms of chemical structure. So it doesn't necessarily work with the body as it would if it was the natural one. So it's like a mirror image, basically. So it doesn't necessarily
But
attach to the same receptors in the same exact way, but it kind of does. So it does a little bit,
but then but then we have the side effects, right? That's the biggest
Exactly.
thing, right? With the
Exactly.
synthetics and with the essential oils, what we love is that you get side benefits.
Yes.
And by the way, all of these um, compounds that are not natural, they usually come, this is scary, comes from the petroleum industry. Like it's a cast off byproduct. There are millions of these crazy the raw material phenols that
Yeah.
comes from petroleum. So don't do junk essential oils. Always
Yeah.
yeah, always know the
Please be
source.
careful. Yes, please be careful. Um let's see, there was one other thing I wanted to mention. Copaiba
BOGO box.
wintergreen. Yeah, the BOGO box. I've got most of Oh, the adulteration. I wanted to speak on that real quick because tomorrow BOGO is rose, and that's a huge one that's adulterated. So you guys I know are probably going to be talking about that tomorrow, you and Fran, right?
So I'll go a little bit more into adulteration tomorrow. I love talking about adulteration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But make sure you know what, another thing, I'm sure that my adaptive roller is kind of in use by my kids because that's another one that they love, and I do too. Pretty sure I use that on them every day. Like no
Yeah.
joke. It's a fabulous one to release anxious feelings and worked up emotions and things like that. So really critical to use the adaptive. But yeah, the roller, the 10 mil roller, which is pre-diluted, comes free if you get the BOGO box. Then we've got the lavender and arborvitae, which arborvitae is another great one to use with wintergreen and copaiba because of the grounding and the I was just looking it up today, and it also has a great connection to the divinity. So for those of us
Yeah.
who are seeking for greater connection to their divinity, that's an amazing one to use. Let's see, the awesome turmeric with the On Guard Plus. Got
So
the
basically, if you miss any of the BOGOs through the week, you can still get them in the BOGO box.
Which is crazy that it hasn't sold out yet. So
It will.
it
Yeah.
will. I think
It's
it will
yeah.
today. I really do
Yeah.
think
It
it
will
will
today.
today.
Today's Friday, right? Yeah. It will today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so get on it, people. And then of course, yeah, the On Guard and Breathe, Copaiba and Wintergreen, and tomorrow will be Rose Touch
And we will
and
know later.
something. We don't know. But it's gonna be two, right? Because they said if you get the BOGO box, you'll be getting 12 items. So we'll see. Maybe.
We'll know. We'll know
But
later.
Rose is a great one. I can't wait to hear you guys talk about it
So
tomorrow.
tomorrow I'll be here with Susanna.
Oh, it's
Fran is gonna be doing,
Susanna.
yeah, Susanna Maya. She's gonna be here with us tomorrow. Fran is going to do a market, so she's always doing
Ah,
markets at the end of the year. So Susanna will be here with us tomorrow talking
yeah.
about Rose. She has a
For
pretty
the
awesome story
for
with
those of
Rose.
you who ever visit, Oahu, be on the lookout for the ladies down in
Yes,
Waikiki. They've got their
yes,
tables set up, so please go find them. Also, I think Coco Marina. So look around the islands, Kailua
yeah. It's all
sometimes.
all over
Be
the
on the
island.
lookout for our DoTerra tables.
Thank you, Christina.
Thank you
Always
for having
love being
me.
here with you. So
Yes.
we are gonna be back here tomorrow. And give your little ones a big hug and kiss for me. Love you.
Yes, you too. Love you. We'll talk to you later. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.